Clickety click, and it's recording. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again to another one of these meetings where these people talk about eating meat and can't shut up about it. So anyways, my name is Tom, and this is another Epidose of what's better, high fat or high protein. Today, I got a list of usual suspects with me. I've got Dr. Lisa, I got Emily, I got Joe Zumbo, or Zippo as we like to call him. We got six-pack Raymond Nazon, and then we've got the ever popular shining out of a lump of coal, Justin from All Out Life down there. So today we are going to talk about our experiences with experimenting with high-fat carnivore and high-protein carnivore. And not that you necessarily have to have an opinion, because some people just eat the meat that appeals to them, and that's all they have to do. But this does come up a lot, so we thought it'd be a hot topic to discuss, and we thought it would be of use to people out there. So here we are. So I'm going to pick on Lisa. Lisa, do you have an opinion about high fat or high protein?
Okay, well, actually, I'm going to say right now my opinion is not much of any opinion. I just kind of go with the flow and eat whatever sort of I'm in the mood for. It's mainly beef, because I've in my mind always tried to eat a little bit higher fat, but I don't really pay attention. I don't eat extra fat. I don't slather bacon grease on my burgers. I don't pour extra grease on things. I do add butter on some things when I just feel like I want a little more fat, if it's a leaner cut of steak. And I think in my mind, I do conscientiously think, well, yeah, this is a pretty lean piece of meat. Let me throw some butter on. And I don't, other than the fact that I do love butter, I think maybe it is in my mind that I do kind of try to not eat really lean. I shy away from chicken. And I pretty much never ever buy tenderloin or filet mignon beef. It's usually always New York strip or ribeye, but I don't really pay attention to it. So I'm actually curious, though, because I do think, and I have a lot of people who ask me with weight loss issues, I know Paul Mabry, he's a physician who was promoting a higher fat and felt like that was better for him to keep weight off. And then I hear other people who are talking about really eating leaner, because the more fat you have, your body is preferentially using up the fat in your diet as opposed to the fat in you. So that sort of makes sense too. But in my case, in the 11 years that I've been cranking along with this, I kind of just eat and don't pay too much attention to it. So I guess my opinion's a non-opinion at this point.
So you just found it wasn't necessary, right? I mean, you just started eating and it worked out and wasn't really an issue.
And I'm sure it varies for me throughout the weeks and months, and just depending on what I buy. Sometimes it's basically just like what's on sale or what I'm in the mood for. But I'll eat beef ribs, I'll eat pork ribs sometimes. Not really paying attention to really whether one's fatty or better for me, or I just, I buy what I like, and sometimes I gear it on what's on sale, and just keep going. So
and it sounds like that you listen to what your body is telling you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but when I'm shopping, though, I'm not thinking, oh, what is my body in the mood for? Oh, let me go over to the fattier meat section. I really am just buying. Really, I guess mainly a lot of times it's just either what looks good at Costco or what's on sale in the grocery stores is pretty much how I do things. So right now, I mean, I'd like to figure it out. I'd like to find out if there's a way of, getting leaner or losing more weight with one strategy over the other, so I can help guide people, and also for myself at times where I think for me more it's giving up the dairy and cutting out the cheese, which I have a hard time with and I go back and forth with. But yeah, I'm always open-minded to listening to experience of what works, and maybe people are a little different. Depends on maybe your activity level, how much you work out, and to what extent you work out. That might have, a contributing factor, but right now I have a question mark on it. So I'm curious to hear what the rest of you have to say.
Well, Em, why don't you hit it off? Because I know you are prone to fat snacking.
Do you want to see?
Sure.
Yeah.
Bust it out. This is like a little kid showing off her toys.
I know. That's my favorite. So this is what I do, and this is what I've done for a long time. I go to the butcher and I ask them for their fat trimmings, and then I just get these strips of fat, and then I cut them up in little chunks, and I salt them, and I freeze them, and then they're this like dense consistency, and it's kind of like cheese, like when I bite into it. And I've noticed that whenever I forget and I don't eat a handful of fat that day, that my moods, that I don't bounce back as much. And it taps into problems with my depression. So I don't know technically or scientifically why or anything like that. I just know from my experience with me personally that I need fat.
And you typically eat ribeyes, right?
I do typically eat ribeyes.
And roughly how much you eat in a day?
1.5 pounds, and that includes the fat.
And Lisa, what do you figure you eat in a day?
Really varies, but probably I'm going to say between 1 and 2 pounds is about what I'm guessing it works out. I don't pay that much attention to it. I usually always overcook so that I can eat as much as I want, and then also for sure have leftovers for the next day or two. So I'm not really, honestly, I don't pay attention. I eat until I look at it and I just don't want to take the next bite. So not that I'm stuffing myself, but I just look at it and I lose interest and I stop. But I'm going to guess some days it's 1 meal a day, sometimes it's 2. So that also will vary. But I guess that's the best guess, is really between 1 and 2 pounds. And I'm 5'3" and about 120. So
5'3".
Yeah.
No way.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You look so
I would
tall.
have guessed you were taller.
Yeah.
I would have guessed
Totally
you were
thought you were taller.
I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
I'm 5'8", so I thought you were my height. I don't know why.
Tiny.
You know who else I was surprised was really, really on the small side was Nevada Gray. One day
really?
I saw this picture of her holding a book, and I was like, well, you're a lot smaller than I thought. She's holding up this book, and I'm like, you're freaking tiny. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, are you part gnome or something? Yeah. She's teeny
adorable.
tiny.
She's
Yeah, she
adorable.
is. We should get her in on one of these.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
You know, I was talking to Mark today. Me and Raymond were talking to Mark today, and he had the same problem. He had the cauda equinus. So he had a disc rupture and pinch off his cauda equinus. So he was almost paralyzed too. That's how he got started on this. Mark, I did an interview with Mark Wimmer today. He's a 12-year carnivore. So it'd be interesting. Maybe we'll get him and Lisa together on one of these videos. Now, Zumbo,
I'm wondering why. I don't know why. Was he originally on Zeroing In on Health?
He said he was, yeah.
Yeah. And he's been out of social media for a long time and just kind of got back into it.
Kind of did on his own. Now he has a little farm and everything.
Yeah, it was crazy. He jumped into one of our meetings and I'm like, hi, tell me how you came to Carnivore. And he's like, well, 12 years ago. And I was like, wow, right. Where have you been? And he was like, and then I think he said he had been on the Zeroing Health with Washington and, everything.
And he knows of you and, of course, Kelly and all that. So
yeah, he said he never met any of you, but he did know of you.
Yeah,
so.
He didn't meet any of you, yeah, but he knows of you.
Well, do you know where he lives?
Utah. He lives right outside of Salt Lake.
Okay, that's probably why we had a bunch of meetups, but there were Philadelphia, New York, and Texas ones that I went to, but that's probably why.
I don't think he was ever big on social media anyways. He liked listening to stuff.
He's a really nice guy. So.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah.
So Zumbo, what's your deal? What's your feeling on protein versus fat?
Well, I've actually gone to leaner cuts of meat. And to be honest, actually, it's still early days, but it's all positive at the moment. Definitely getting leaner, more satiated as well. So, I mean, I can eat and then, I can go 12 hours before I have my next meal. There's no issue. I mean, and I fill up much quicker as well. As far as performance on the bike, smashing it. It's really good. Recovery is amazing. So
yeah, for people who don't know, Joe does a lot of bicycling and he's a chef. So he knows his meat.
So Joe, when you say leaner cuts of meat, are you doing beef mainly, but just like tenderloin?
Beef. Yeah, so I'll do a tenderloin. I'll do what we call strip loin here, which I think is like a New York strip over there. So it doesn't have as much fat. But I'm doing the majority of what I'm eating now is ground beef, or we call it mince over here. So it's about 80-20. And it's just, it's working really well.
And so let me just ask, just because I mainly always buy 80-20 in my ground beef, but there's so much fat that cooks off. Do you drain that fat then and just eat the meat?
Yep. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I drain it off. So, I mean, I will attempt even leaner meat, or leaner ground, which is probably like a 80 or maybe a 90-10, which we can get over here, and just see what happens. But yeah, so far it's been very positive. So, I mean, I used to eat, we call it Scotch fillets, you guys call it ribeyes, and within, maybe 3 hours, I was hungry again. I just wanted to eat. So, but with the amount of training I'm doing, and there are some rides where I'll go out and burn, 3,000 calories on a ride. If I come home and I eat the leaner cuts of meat, I'm sweet, no issues at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Look, I think everyone's different.
Joe, do you think that's because your body, because I think the body metabolizes fat quicker than protein, right? Am I right? So do you think your body's just eating through the fat and it's like almost going into not starvation, but like a hunger state maybe, and maybe doing the pure lean protein, your body's taking a little longer to break it down and use it, so you're more sustained longer?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I did hear a podcast where someone said that your satiety levels are much higher with leaner meat. So what the mechanisms are behind it, not too sure. But it's been really good.
So are you planning on doing like 30 days on just lean meat and maybe throwing fat back in to see a difference? What are you using to measure, to see what the difference is, just how you feel? Or are you just measuring from how you felt before and how you feel now and how you will continue to feel?
Yeah, look, I'm going by feel. And, as I said, at the moment, I'm feeling fantastic. It's really good. There was just something, I think when I was eating too much fat, the weight stalled. It just wasn't, and again, I was always hungry. So I think now I've cut that down. Although today I did eat a big ass T-bone, but I just did it for a bit of fun. But yeah, look, I think I'm going to continue doing it until my body says, maybe let's switch it up again. So it could be the 30 days, it could be a whole year.
How about you, Justin? What's your feelings?
So when it comes to fat and protein, so I kind of subscribe to the idea of eat what you're trying to heal. And so because most of my issues that I'm trying to heal are mental health and neurological, i.e. the migraines, the brain is all like fat pretty much. And so I feel best when I have a lot of fat. Like a ribeye is amazing, a fatty ribeye. Like if I'm getting 60, 70% fat on that ribeye, like I feel great. My mood is like so good. Like I really feel, especially mentally, really, really well. And then physically, I also feel well. And so, but I also eat a lot of ground beef. And with the ground beef, I will do like a bunch of butter. I'm probably doing like, I don't know, 2 teaspoons at least of butter when I cook up like 80-20 ground beef.
Wow.
And then, yeah. And then, so like what Lisa was talking about, oh, do you pour out the fat? What do you do with it? You know, what I put my burger patties, I'll cook up like 8 at a time. And then I'll throw them all in a container and then pour all that fat, just glaze it on top of my burgers. And then when I go to reheat it, I take up chunks of that fat and put it back on the burger when I reheat it in the microwave. So I'm not try to keep as much of the fat as possible. And that seems to really help my mood. And that's how I feel best with a lot of fat. I think I need the fat. And maybe it could be because I'm still, you know, I'm only 9 months in. So I'm still possibly in the healing stage. And once I've more healed, maybe I can mess around with leaner cuts and more body composition and things like that. I have done lean cuts before. So at Target, they have these like lean steaks or whatever. There's like no fat on them. And I was eating those before too. And I felt okay, but I don't know. I feel like the energy boost with fat and, you know, the mental clarity is better with fat, you know, and things like that. If I got to do case notes and things, you know, I feel like having a chunk of fat before sitting down on the computer to focus. And I also think that, you know, if you go back evolutionarily, if that's a real word, sorry, back in human evolution, that what did we have to play with really? You know, we didn't really have control over our environment. So hot and cold is kind of out. Is either really, really hot or really cold or somewhere in the middle. You know, we had no air conditioning, heating, or anything like that. No swimming pools, maybe a spring or something like that, depending on the area of the world. So what did we have to play with? Well, we could play with probably fat. We probably did play with fat and protein ratios, you know, and, you know, also like with children, did they have more protein or more fat? What would a child gravitate to? I think that would be also very interesting. And do children gravitate to different things? You know, would adults in the tribe break up the mammoth in different ways?
So maybe when it's colder, they ate more fat for more energy to stay warm.
Mm-hmm.
I know I did see an interview with a lady in Africa, and they were asking what the first solid food that they gave the babies were, and she was saying zebra fat. So babies went right from mama's milk to zebra fat. So maybe that's how we've always been doing it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Dude, if I have another baby, I'm so doing that. That's
and
so
liver.
Cool.
That's right.
That's so cool.
You're going to do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I was actually listening to an interview. I can't remember who it was by. Maybe I'll drop it in the comments after, where they thought that a lot of mental health issues in children and different things is because of the lack of fat, because of a lot of parents feeding formula instead of breast milk. And formula doesn't have any fat in it, you know. So the guy was even saying, no, I'm not recommending this. You know, I'm not a nutritionist, obviously cannot recommend anything. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. But he was recommending to put butter or like ghee or, you know, fat in the bottle if you're going to feed formula to help reuptake some of that fat for brain development in children. So that was very, very interesting. So we probably would have known very similar things in our early evolution.
Yeah. So what about you, Ray?
So for me, I've been ribeye mostly through my transition.
For most people out there, that's roughly 50-50, right?
Yeah, so roughly 50-50. I've played with some fat ratio as far as adding bacon and all that, but that, I mean, didn't do much. Now I did try lean for a little bit with Zumbo when he mentioned that as far as performance. So what I noticed is I immediately got bloated, but the next day my performance was incredible. But I didn't like the cost of the bloatedness. That's the problem with it. I have IBS, so I think I don't know if I reacted to the pan. I don't know if I reacted because I did put a little extra fat in there from the tallow, you know, that I cut off from the ribeye. So I don't know if I reacted to that. So there's a lot of experimentation to do from there. One thing, so I do eat every other day. Last year I did it where it's just water only. This year I add fat under, like right around in the 500 calories. And I noticed something that's really handy for this fat fast, the carnivore one. Yeah. See, if you notice the package on the back, it says 400 and I think like 50 calories, and it's perfect. That's the exact amount that I need to be under. So what I'll do is I'll snack like one time in the morning and one time in the evening, just when the height of the hunger is. And then that's enough to shave off. And what that does is it doesn't cause my cold hands like last year. So last year I did it for 6 months. I started getting cold hands, cold feet. And I started noticing I'm crashing during midday, like wanting to go to sleep. And this alleviated all that, which allowed me to go through this fasted period. And for me, the fast really helps my body composition being just normal. Obviously, with IBS, my body doesn't metabolize very well, so I kind of have to manually do it. In hours, that's why fasting is handy for me.
So you're saying you eat every other day?
That's right, every other day. Yeah, it's called alternate day fasting.
He's a freak.
And then do you have one meal on your?
Oh no. I eat liberally. I like today I ate probably 3 times. Most of the times it's 2 times. But today I had an extra hard workout. We rolled for like an hour. Sorry.
How many pounds of meat are you eating on your eating day?
It varies between 2 to 3 pounds on my eating day. So, and usually I try to get a ribeye in, but today, since my kids had leftover turkey, I ate that, a turkey drumstick. But that always leaves me extra hungry after I eat that. So, you know, I ended up snacking on some jerky and some carnivore bar just to get that extra fill.
So how many carnivore bars do you eat?
One on my off days.
Okay.
So yeah, because it's exactly under 500 calories. So it's a perfect amount that I need to sneak in. And it's got that amount of fat because it's higher in fat. There you go.
I need to order me some of those.
Yeah.
I haven't tried one yet.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
It's just enough to not only take away the edge, but you know how us carnivores, I mean, even if we eat a little bit, it's like we can go like 6 or 7 hours without eating.
Yeah.
And so I just take advantage of that. But I just do that every other day. And I make sure I get a pretty decent refeed the next day. So today was my eat day. And I'll work out fasted, by the way. So most of the time when, like this morning, so yesterday was my not eat day. So this morning I wake up, did all my workout routine, everything. And then when I got back, that's when I started eating. So I'll go typically sometimes 24 hours, you know, without eating and work out. So that's pretty regular. And those are actually my best feel of workout is right about the 24th hour. I feel awesome. Just incredible. So.
All right. Well, I guess
so Raymond,
it's my turn. Oh, go ahead.
So just one question. Raymond, so do you think you'll give it another crack with the leaner meat?
Yeah, I mean, I need to, Joe, because there was too many variables that could have messed it up for me. And that performance increase was, I mean, I was out there like a little kid. I mean, I was doing kick-ups. I was doing, push-ups like it was nothing. I was, my splits even got a little bit better. So I was like, damn. But I didn't like feeling bloated. I didn't like that feeling of just that first day until it finally digested and I felt so good. So yeah, obviously I'm going to try it again because there is definitely significant performance increase. I want to repeat that. It could be a fluke. Yep. I don't know. So I do want to find out. So I appreciate you telling me about it. So I'm going to find out.
Oh, good.
It's so cool to have that moment where you do feel superhuman, especially at 40 plus. You're just like, I can do this. Like, let's see how much more I can do.
Yeah. At
Right.
47, to be able to do a kick up again, that's just amazing. I don't know if you guys know what kick ups is. It's where you're on your back and then you can just flop right to your feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call
So-
those mat kips.
Mat kips.
Yeah.
Okay. Never heard that.
I think that's Korean because I studied Hapkido. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
they called
yeah.
them mat kips.
Yeah. So to do that at 47, I never thought I'd see. I did that as in my teens, but that's a different story. To do that at this age, gosh. Anyways.
I bet you're such a fun dad.
Yeah, we wrestle a lot, me and my son. So when I wrestle, we do jujitsu together. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing some experimenting. What do you want to say, Justin?
I just wanted to ask Raymond, so just to get his schedule right. So when you start feeling, like you said, a little the cold hands and feet, or when you start to feel like, sorry, maybe I'm getting it mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like when do you reach for the carnivore bar? I think that's how many hours in? Because you do one every day and then you eat.
No.
regularly.
Every other day I'll do carnivore bar. So for example, I'm done eating tonight. So tomorrow I won't eat until, and I stopped eating at 8:30, I think. Tomorrow I probably have a little bit of carnivore bar right about, I don't know, 11, 12. So I'll just probably eat that top part right here. Just like a quarter piece.
I can't stop.
Oh no, that one's easy for me to do. I see.
Oh,
I'm
man.
unlike you. You like that crunch. I don't really care for
love
the crunch.
those
I just do it just to get that film on the top of my mouth and then kind of that feeling of satiation.
It's the fat. That fat
Yeah,
is so
the
good
fat,
in those bars.
Yeah, it is. And then I'll do one like right after I get home, which is about 5 or so. So yeah.
Oh, so you even space out a bar
Yes.
throughout the day.
That's right, because
awesome.
it's 500 calories. Anything less than 500 is the ideal. I don't know. That's what they said on the alternate day fasting site. That's what they consider still a fast under 500 calories. So I'm just following that protocol.
That works. And as long as you get the results you get, and boy, you got results. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I did get the results I did last year, but I got negative results like the cold hand and cold feet. I don't want to repeat that again. So I was like, I need to tweak that. And I'm like, there's got to be a way for carnivores to fast properly or even better. So that's where, when I got Philip Meese's carnivore bar, I was like, hey, under 500 calories, that gave me an idea, or if I get home, sometimes I'll just take some of that fat, because I'll cut off all the fat from the ribeye and I'll put it in a container, just like kind of Emily does, except I don't freeze it. And then I'll take a couple, like 3 or 4 bites of that, So I'll do that too sometimes. So it all depends.
Cool. So it sounds like you're doing 16, a bite of bar, 8 roughly, bite of bar, then the next day feast throughout the day.
You do realize I don't overthink it that much, right? I don't go by any schedule. It's like, oh, I think I'm hungry. I think I feel that edge coming on. Let me take something,
I think we all know that Ray is a simple man.
Yeah, that's right. I try to keep it simple. I'm like, carnivore. That's why I love carnivore, because it was so simple. I want to keep everything as simple as possible.
We keep trying to analyze you, and all we find out is that you're a simple man.
I am. Yeah.
So what about you, Tom? What's your
Tom.
take on lean and fat?
Well, initially I just ate whatever appealed to me, and then I did the PKD diet to work on my psoriasis, and that was extremely high fat. And then more recently I've been doing lean because I want to get leaner. I like to lift and I want to get stronger. So in the interest of less body fat and more body muscle, I've been eating lean. So I eat a lot of I'll eat sirloin tip steaks, New York strips. The New York strip is like the fattiest thing I'll eat. And then today I had, it was a grass-fed ground beef, but it was only 15% fat. And, if you keep trying to stir the fat in, if it's warm, it just keeps running out. So, I think you do lose a significant amount of fat. In fact, it seemed fairly dry to me. So I put a little bit of cheese on it, goat cheese. So my goal is I'm working towards, staying somewhere in the realm of like 1.3 to maybe 2 grams of protein per body weight, and maybe like 0.3 grams of fat, something like that, and probably a harder ceiling on the fat than the protein, because I'm not really worried about overeating protein. I've never even had the meat sweats. I've heard about it, but I've never had that problem.
The what?
The meat sweats, you eat too much lean protein and you break out in a sweat from trying to, because there's that thermogenic effect of converting protein into energy. So,
Wow.
and I don't run out of energy. So I don't think that I'm ever in an energy deficit when it comes to eating fat. So I can eat pretty lean. Sometimes when I eat too lean of meat, I have a hard time swallowing it. It's so lean, and that's cooked meat. Now, of course, raw meat, you can eat really lean raw meat and it's easy to swallow, so you don't need that fat so that's my experiment. I'm actually doing the opposite of everybody else. Probably I'm going to go towards eating more frequently. So essentially, let's say a prescribed amount of food, or at least in the ballpark with a limit on fat and maybe as much protein as I want, but then eat more frequently. Try and make sure I've got at least 3 grams of leucine in every meal to stimulate muscle growth. And so that's the direction I'm heading. I've been doing really well at the gym with lifting. So I mean, I smashed it the other day. I couldn't believe I picked up 455.
That was
on a deadlift,
amazing.
and I was like,
when I saw that, I was like,
I got to be doing something right. Yeah.
Jealous.
So it wasn't
And that's
that
with
long.
lean and meat.
Take that.
Yeah, and I wasn't that long ago that and I was already eating leaner, that I squatted 500, and I couldn't believe it. I even saw one of the other people at the gym, like I saw one of the trainers. He was like looking. He's like, "Oh my God, he's gonna pick that." And he was walking up behind me. I could see him in the mirror coming up behind me with this like concerned look on his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, "There's nothing he could have done anyways. I mean, there's if I dropped it, I dropped it. It was gonna hit the floor, and hopefully I wasn't gonna be under it." So, but I appreciated the concern. So yeah, so I look at it like it only makes sense to get leaner and be able to keep lifting, to just eat leaner cuts of meat, and I follow a lot of the discussions that Ted Nyman has, and of course there's this ongoing debate, because a lot of people eat a high fat carnivore diet or a keto diet and they lose weight. But, a lot of people stall on those diets too. So, and part of that might be how long you've been overweight. I mean, I was obese for more than 20 years, easy. So I think I have a harder set point when it comes to body fat, and I think getting past that, and getting my body to want to let go of that body fat and go to a new set point of a leaner set point. It's probably harder to achieve that than it is to put on muscle for me. And it's that way for some people. And a lot of the strategy, the professional bodybuilders like John Anderson and Stan Efferding and stuff like that, these guys do eat frequently. So, and that's, when you go to the lab and you look at results, that's how you get the results. Seems like somewhere around 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine, frequently eating and, getting in, they'll say as little, I think, as 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight is needed per day. But I'm looking at more like 1.5 grams per pound, so almost double that. And I that's where I feel good. So I'm creeping towards leaner and kind of put a ceiling on the fat, keep lifting and see what happens.
See what happens. That's right.
So anybody else got any bright sparks they need to throw on the fire here? Anybody?
No.
Lisa cracked a smile. She
No,
might have something to say.
I think we all covered it. We all gave our opinion on our N=1 of ourselves, and it was interesting for me to listen to that because I've always been wondering about kind of experimenting with eating leaner, and I've been working out a little bit more than I have in the past, so it'd be interesting to try that.
Yeah.
It's always nice to experiment. I think that way you can figure out more. Well, I feel like I'm trying to always figure out my body, what the exact threshold it can do, and how far I can. Not really how far I can push it. Like as far as I'm not competing against anybody else other than myself. So just to see what this body can do.
All right.
Well, and I also have my theory, and I have no way of proving any of it. But my theory with the MS, and that, like Justin was saying, that our brains, need that fat. Yes, I can tell it by my mental illness that whenever I don't have it, that I suffer more with my mental illness. But also, I haven't had any symptoms, with MS since May 9th. And so my theory is that it's due to the fat rebuilding that myelin that I was deteriorated with my MS, because my MS is still active. I still have had 4 MRIs that have confirmed that I still have MS, but I don't have any symptoms of it. And so that's my theory. We'll see. The neurologists are still telling me that I'm going to be crippled when I'm 50, but that's my experiment, and that's my gamble is on carnivore and on fat.
I'm pretty sure if I was going to tweak your theory and Justin's theory, that you guys really should just be eating more brains. And
there you go. That's it.
I think fresh brains.
Like cures like. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get a deal there on that, Justin.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to write up some paperwork and do some brain eating on camera.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Eat it raw.
Eat it raw. There
Yes.
you go.
I'm all about it.
So for the people out there who don't know, both Lisa and Raymond and sometimes Justin are available on MeterX, right, for coaching. Lisa's
Yes.
probably overbooked for the next 10 years. And then Emily, you can reach Emily through her Facebook page, Center of Brilliance, right? And you do coaching.
Yes.
And Zumbo, best thing to do is try and catch him on your bicycle, because that's how you're going to learn to ride.
In Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ray, you're still coaching, right?
I am.
Yeah.
RX.
Awesome.
So you guys out there can find us on Facebook at Center of Brilliance. Of course, I still run Autistic Carnivores and the Ketogenic Fasting Project and the Meat Cult and on and on and on.
And there's Australia carnivores as well.
Joe
Australian
has,
carnivores, a meat-based lifestyle.
and then Bikes from the Bunch, right?
Yeah, that's the side thing.
Side thing.
That's the
Oh,
side
with like 50,000 followers. That's the side thing.
The side thing.
I'm on Instagram as Carnivore Doctor.
Carnivore Doctor.
Message me there, yeah.
Anybody else want to throw out their IG, Twitter, or?
And
email?
I'm alloutlife.carnivore on Facebook, Instagram, and Minds.
Spell that out for him.
ALLOUT life.carnivore.
All right, all one word, all out life, and then .carnivore. And tell everybody what Minds is.
So minds.com is a Facebook-like platform that's crypto-based through the, what's it called? The, crap. Anyway, those people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like, pro-free speech, anti-censorship, and it's just a neat little platform just in case, someone gets shut down on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. So I kind of archive everything that you guys do on Minds. So there's a nice collection there. I'm the only carnivore presence on Minds.
We should change that.
Not
Bet.
anymore. It
Bet.
won't be anymore.
I'm coming.
We need to creep across the platforms.
Yeah.
We need to be invincible. Nobody
Sounds
can
like a
take us
good-
down.
Let's infiltrate.
Sounds like a good place to spend a little bit of man time.
Oh, you're so bad.
I hate you. I hate you.
You and your inside jokes, you
I
evil
hate
man.
you, Joe.
Joe got kicked in the head by a kangaroo the other day, so he's not himself.
He's not right. He's not right.
Blockchain. That's the word I'm looking for. The
Blockchain.
blockchain.
There we
Blockchain.
go.
Oh, okay.
There you
Blockchain.
go, blockchain, yes.
Yes.
Oh, you guys crack me up.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up real quick. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope we helped you guys, everybody out there, with their questions about protein and fat. Maybe pass the link on to this video to somebody who could benefit from it, or somebody else who would enjoy it. You know, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, leave us comments. We almost always respond to the comments, even if you're an evil vegan that's picking on us. We'll still talk to you. So anyways, thanks everybody, and look forward to the next video. I got a couple rolling out real quick here. Thank you again, and thanks everybody for showing up to participate. It is always good to see your faces.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.